And we're on the air. What is going on, everybody? Welcome to Have At It, episode 50. My name is Ben Cornett. It is Friday, March 1st, 2024. Yes, it is March already. Man, these first couple months of 2024 have just flown by fast. I don't know what you guys think, but for me, it's just flown by. So that's good. Winter is almost past us, and we're getting close to springtime. So I'm very excited about that. Now, the only problem with that is, I do have allergies, so seasonal change will affect my allergies a little bit. So there's, good and bad about spring coming up. The good part won't be as cold. Bad part, got to deal with the allergies, but that's okay. You know, take the positive over the negative any day of the week. And yeah, speaking of positives or negatives, if you want to talk, um, so this week the NFL sort of they came out with this thing called report cards for every team in the NFL. I know the Chiefs they ranked 31st. The Super Bowl champion Kansas City Chiefs. So they ranked 31st in grades. As far as the team travel, the locker room, stuff like that. Just whatever's based around what the team does on and off the field. That's the grading criteria. And so the Chiefs were 31st in the league. They're the Super Bowl champions. But the Bucks, I'll speak for my team, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Um, they were ranked 24th out of 32 teams. Now, again, the report cards, it's conducted by the NFLPA, the Players Association. So, they talk to players and stuff like that, get their take on, what they think of the facilities, the team travel, all that kind of good stuff. Even, the cafeteria, just anything. So I want to read this real quick for people that didn't know, if you're not a fan of the Bucks, but this is our report card. Again, for 2023, we received, we were 24th out of 32. And they have like different subjects on what they talk about. First of all, treatment of families, meaning the families of players and everything. The Bucks got a D plus. So apparently, according to the report card, the D plus, it's not a great grade. Depending on who you ask. Now, this is confidential, so but it's treatment as far as what, like what they do for the families of players during game week, during game day, whether it's at home or on the road. But it did come out a D plus, so you might want to work on that. Here's one: the food service nutrition is a D. Wonder what they're serving over there at the Bucks facility. The weight room B plus. I mean, hey, guys like Vita Vea, Levante David, those guys, Devin White. I mean, they keep in great physical shape. So yeah, I could see a B plus for sure. I would have gave it an A. If you're asking me, I'd give it an A. The strength coaches got an A. I agree. Our guys were physical. They were tough. They should be an A. The training room was a C plus. Maybe not everybody participated during weight training days. So who knows? Maybe some didn't like the way the weight room was set up. Whether it's a small weight room or not. I've never been in there. I've never been around there, so I don't know. The training staff got an A. So the strength coaches and training staff, entire staff did a pretty good job. Got A's, so that's encouraging. Todd Bowles as head coach got a B plus, I believe. So that's good. The players obviously like him. So that's good. That's never a bad thing. The locker room, I guess that's the whole locker room. Whether it's the way it's set up or the way it's cleaned or whatever, they got a C minus. Um, that includes the shower room. There were, I heard stuff like there were bugs in the showers, or you know, um, yeah, that's not a great. If that's the case, then that's not a great look. Um, you know, that's should improve. They shouldn't have stuff like that happen. But in fairness, it is Florida. It's humid. You know, but still, no excuses. And they have the team travel, which is pretty interesting. Uh, they graded out as an F. Um, from what I heard and understood was the players don't get you know first class seating. Also, rookies, if they want to have their own room, they have to pay like $1,700, $1,800 to do that out of their own pocket. So that's very interesting. Just looking at this, I mean, again, do we make it a big deal? I mean, I'm a fan of the team. Maybe it's nothing I should worry about as a fan. I mean, I'm there to watch the football team play on Sundays, Mondays, Thursdays, whatever. But I just find it interesting that the NFLPA would they conduct these report cards. But take it for what it's worth. I mean, I'd love to hear your opinion on it. Do you take these grades seriously? If you do, that's fine. If not, no worries. I mean, again, I just find it interesting to, look all this stuff up. So, yeah. But yet the Chiefs were ranked 31st, and they're the defending Super Bowl champions. I mean, I didn't see their report card was on, but they also ranked Clark Hunt, the owner of the Chiefs, as the worst owner in the league. So, but yet they had Taylor Swift at a lot of those games. So, hey, it is what it is, right? Again, you take it for a grain of salt. That's all. So, we got some comments in here tonight. Scott Thaler is first. Thanks, Scott, for tuning in. The Rams really got bad scores. Yeah, I didn't see their report card, but again, Scott, these are just take it with a grain of salt. I mean, this is the players that are, the NFLPA talked to, got their opinions, what they think. I'm not saying don't take it seriously, but who knows how the NFLPA, grades these kind of things, what the criteria is, stuff like that. But yeah, so I believe like the Dolphins were like one of the best grades team wise. So I don't know. It's very interesting. Baker Mayfield brought roaches from the LA Rams facility. Oh, there you go. Is that what it was, Scott? We're gonna have to talk to Baker Mayfield about that. Maybe spray a little raid on him. Then Travis stomps on the bugs in the skybox Taylor was in. Well, that's a gentleman for you right there. That's another thing too. I guess we have some Taylor rules set in for Mr. Travis Kelce. I guess there's reports. TMZ, they were like, Taylor Swift set some ground rules for Mr. Kelce. When they're alone, he has to FaceTime her. When she FaceTimes him, there's no text. It's FaceTime. He also has to wear a certain style of clothes, no taking photos of women, fans. Now, keep in mind, folks, that Travis Kelce did have a dating show, several years ago. I think it was on Netflix. So he's definitely in love with his women. I can tell you that. But you know, it's Taylor Swift. I mean, so hey, if you want to keep getting it on with Miss Swift, then got to play by her rules. So let's see. Who's this? This is Facebook user. I assume this is Corey Brown. Let me check in on this one. It is. He says Mike Evans only looks good in Bucks, Texans, Bears uniform. No other team. Yeah, why don't we get to that? So we just found out a little while ago that for all the Bucks fans out there, for any NFL fans as well, because this is an NFL thing as well. Apparently, there's reports from Diana Rossini on ESPN that Mike Evans will be testing free agency. This is the first time he will be doing such in his career. Yeah, it's very interesting. It's his first time going out there to see what's teams will offer him, and I got to be honest with you, Mike Evans going to get some offers. I know people are saying, well, with the salary cap going up $30 million, a lot of Bucks fans are celebrating. All right, cool, great. Now we got, Mike Evans. We're going to get him back for sure. Great, and maybe they will, and it'll probably happen. But just keep in mind that, and I said this on the NFL edition last night too, with Alex Loosemore, Johnny Dean, JT Olson. Shout out to them. That just, yes, the money went up, but also the players will ask for more money as well. Since the money did go up, Mike Evans saying, okay, I can ask for an extra $5-10 million. Baker Mayfield, I can ask for extra $10-15 million. So we're not out of the woods yet. Teams are going to offer more money. They got more of that salary cap now. The Houston Texans seem like the team that has a lot of money, to play with. And Mike Evans, ironically, grew up outside of Houston in a town called Galveston, Texas. He went to Texas A&M. So Texas is home to him. So, I mean, it would make sense if Evans decides to go to Houston. Think about it. You got a rookie quarterback, C.J. Stroud, who played phenomenal in his rookie year. He's got to, obviously, we got to wait and see, how he does the following year. It's always, how do you do the next year? But Houston's, their trajectory is up. They won the division. DeMeco Ryans did a great job in his first year as head coach. Will Anderson, phenomenal as a rookie on defense. They got pieces there. And, the Texans have a Tank Dell on their team. But, you pair Tank Dell with Mike Evans. That's a 1-2 punch right there. That would be phenomenal for years to come. Now, I'm not predicting that Mike Evans will go to Houston. I still think Evans, I'll go 75-25 that he comes back to Tampa, because, they're going to make it a priority to try and make sure he finishes out his career in Tampa, retires a Buck, everything. But again, there's no guarantees, Hell, even Tom Brady, everybody thought he would just be a Patriot. And that's it. But look what happened. He went to the Bucks the fall, in 2020. And we got a Super Bowl out of it. So, you just never know. And again, if Evans leaves, he leaves. I don't, as a, I'm a fan, but I try not to be like super invested in players, because at the end of the day, the NFL, like all other pro sports, it's a business. You never want to get invested in a player. Now, just me. That's just my opinion. You know, um, a lot of fans do. They get invested in players, and I'm not saying there's anything wrong with that. But for me, I just don't. I try not to invest in players, because they can leave. They can not be on your team anymore. So, and listen, Mike Evans, guys, for the non-Bucks fans out there, this guy did a lot for the Bucks, not just on the field, but off the field too, with the front office. He restructured his contract to get money he would have gotten in future years up front, so he could help the Bucks with the salary cap. I hear fans say, Bucks fans, oh, he took less money for, like, no, guys, that's not how it works. He restructured his deal a couple times to help with the salary cap, meaning he took his future earnings ahead of schedule. He just took it ahead of time, but it also, affects the salary cap, because it's also going to be dead money for the Bucks. In those future years, they would have gave that money to Evans. So I do think the Bucks owe it to Evans to let him, test free agency. I think that's only fair. Because he did do a lot for this team. But we'll see what happens. Again, he's going to get offers. He's looking for around $30 million. He could set the market for that. But at the end of the day, he also wants to win. He also wants to be on a team that can compete for a Super Bowl and try and win a Super Bowl. He's not going to go to just any team. Like, if Carolina offered him money, I don't see him going to Carolina, no matter how much money they give him, because Mike Evans is a competitor. He's not. I don't believe he's one of those guys that will just chase the money. Now, if he does, then maybe it's just for retirement and stuff like that, to write off in the sunset. But again, I still think there's a competitiveness within Evans, somebody that wants to try and win another Super Bowl. So, the Bucks, certainly, if they can ringside Maker, they can re-sign Antoine Winfield Jr., bring Levante back, then they got a shot to have some success. Now, I don't know if I'd go as far as a Super Bowl, but at least they would have a chance, to win a division like they have the last few years and be competitive in the postseason. And that's what Mike wants. He wants to be competitive. And, if Tampa's the place that he can do that, then that's great. That's really good, that we don't have to worry so much, about him leaving anytime soon. But if he feels there's another team out there that's going to have a better chance to win, and he feels like, okay, I'm just, I'm not speaking for Mike, I'm just saying, if that's a possibility, maybe he thinks that this team can win, or that team can win, if they can bring me in. So we'll see what happens. It's going to be very exciting. I'm looking forward to, where Mike Evans goes, because really, he's one of the best wide receivers in the league. Definitely a top 10. So there are teams that are going to want him. And, I'm hoping it's us. But, if it's not, then, hey, I thank him for the 10 seasons he was with us. He's definitely a Bucks Ring of Honor guy. He's going to be in the Hall of Fame, Pro Football Hall of Fame. And, he deserves whatever contract he gets. And that's pretty much all I got to say on that. So, yeah. Let's go to some of these comments. Scott, Corey Brown, Evans would look good in horns. Okay, he's referring to the Rams. Corey says Scott Taylor, Rams don't need Mike Evans. They got Cooper Kupp, number one wide receiver. That's questionable. I mean, I would think Puka Nacua, the way he played this year, I know he's a rookie, but kind of outplayed Cooper Kupp. And Cooper Kupp's been injured the last couple of years, so I don't know if he'll be the number one receiver for long on that team. It could be Puka Nacua time down in LA. Scott says, but Evans is going to the Kansas City Chiefs. Yeah, I don't know about that. Patrick Mahomes better restructure his deal. Better restructure a lot of money because that's what it's going to take to bring Evans in. Although, if he does go to KC, that'd be scary. I mean, Mahomes to Evans, that would be scary. Be great for the Chiefs. No, they have Puka. That's right. Corey Brown says, no Chiefs. Mike Evans look awful in KC uniform. Evans wants more Super Bowl rings. Yeah, I can see that. Christopher Cole, thanks for tuning in tonight. He's watching on YouTube on Ben Cornett 9015. That's my YouTube channel. Thank you, Chris, for watching. He says Jason Light has a number and he sticks to it. Yeah, I mean, but Chris, I could also see Light maybe being like, okay, if they got this offer, I'm willing to kind of come close to it and maybe match it. Who knows? I mean, I could see the Bucs I could see Greenberg and Light overpay him to keep him. I really could. Let's remember. Christopher Cole, I know you know this, but for the fans out there that don't know this, Mike Evans was Jason Light's very first draft pick, the 7th overall pick in the 2014 NFL draft. That's, you may think, oh, that's okay. What's your point? Well, that's his very first draft pick of the Jason Light era. As a GM, his very first pick was Mike Evans, wide receiver out of Texas A&M. That's a big deal, for a GM to say, you know what, if this guy can, start his career here and finish his career here, because that was his first draft pick, that's a big deal to GMs, So I'm willing to bet that Jason Light tries to go that extra mile, meaning if he has to stretch out, pay a little more money than he would like, I could see him doing that. Would I be surprised if he didn't? No, nothing surprises me, but I wouldn't be surprised either if, let's say, I don't know, I'm just throwing numbers out there. Mike gets $30 million a year from the Texans. Let's say Jason Light's like, okay, we could do 25, 26. That's their set. We'll go around 25, 26. Again, I'm just, giving an example. But if Jason Light sees that it's 30, 31 million, whatever, maybe he says, you know what, hey, I'll go up 28, 29. We'll get close to that. Now, maybe I didn't want to go that high, but if it means willing to keep you here and we get Baker Mayfield back, then okay. We'll go around 29. We'll get close to that. And Evans may be like, okay, great. We're getting there. We're meeting at that common ground. And remember, in negotiations, you always want to start at the very top. Then you work your way down. You try to get up to that middle. So, and then Mike's agent, I should say, is going to he's going to definitely want a big payday for his wide receiver. And I don't blame him. The agent's got to get paid too. That's part of their job, is to get the most money for their client. So, I could see a team offer him 30, 31 million a year. I could see Jason like Christopher Cole said, he has a number and sticks to it, like 25, 26. Okay, so we're about 5-6 million apart per year. I could see Jason Light being like, okay, you know what? I'm willing to go 28, 29. Let's get you close to that number. I still want you. But again, like Christopher Cole says, he's got a number in mind. He'll stick to it. Maybe he will. Maybe he will just stick to that certain number. But I can also see him stretch it out a little bit and get close to what another team or teams are matching or offering, just to get close to matching that. Or maybe Light does match it. So again, we'll see how that plays out, but I'm very excited either way. It's always a good time of year to see what teams do, how much they're willing to shell out to get that top free agent. So, and like I said, Houston, man, they got the quarterback, CJ Stroud. Very enticing, So, let's see. Facebook user Mike Evans never said that. Scott want more. Never said that. Scott want more Super Bowl that game news. Okay. Mike Evans ready. Say what? Want to be Bucks end career? Yeah. Well, he says he wants to. Again, I'll go back. Tom Brady said he wanted to be a Patriot forever. He couldn't see himself with another team. Well, players will say stuff all the time. They're going to say things like that. They're not going to say, well, but, who knows? But players are going to say certain things, just to throw a smokescreen, perhaps. That's what they do, especially when you're a free agent. They're going to say a lot of things. Scott says with the Kansas City Chiefs, he has a much better chance of winning. Yeah, maybe. I mean, you got Patrick Mahomes, Travis Kelce. But again, their financial situation right now, they're going to have to make some decisions. Do they re-sign Chris Jones, their defensive end? I don't know. They're going to have to pay him a lot of money if they want him back. So I don't see the Chiefs. Again, you never know. They could, perhaps make moves to, financially within the salary cap to try and bring Evans in. It would take a lot of maneuvering with contracts, a lot of restructures, especially on Mahomes' side. Is he willing to do that? Is Patrick Mahomes saying, if I want to keep winning, if I want a fourth ring or a fifth ring, I am going to have to start restructuring some deals. My contract, especially, I'm the highest paid guy on the team. That's what Tom Brady did. He took less money. He could have made so much more money in his career from his game checks. And he made a lot of money, off the field. But I'm just saying, he could have made hundreds of millions of dollars, if he wanted to. But that wasn't the way Tom Brady did things. He knew how important it was to win Super Bowls. That was what was important to him. And in order for him to do that, he couldn't have those big paydays, He had to leave some money for other things, for receivers, for a defensive player. That's what Mahomes is going to have to do. If he wants to keep winning, he's got to do those things. He's got to do what Tom did. He's got to not take so much money. He's got to spread that money around. So, I'm not saying, he won't go to the Chiefs. I'm saying it can't happen, but, it's going to take a lot of financial maneuvering on the Chiefs' part for that to happen, or for that to be even a possibility. All right. Corey Brown says KC Chiefs need to stop signing former Bucks players. Yeah, I know. Mike Edwards, Judson Watson, even Blaine Gabbert. Yeah, that's true. If Mike Evans signed with Texans, going to be an interesting team to watch. Okay, that'd be Corey again. Yep, I agree. I think it'd be great to watch. Houston would be that much better. Evans would be, and listen, he's in his early 30s, but he still played at a pretty high level last year. So, and CJ Stroud, big arm, he can get to Evans. Yeah, I mean, that would be a very fun team to watch. Be sad to see in a way because it's a different uniform, but at the same time, if you're just an NFL fan, that's a great 1-2 punch. Scott Taylor, Dynasty, Corey Brown, 3-peat for the Kansas City Chiefs and beyond. And we'll see, Scott. We'll see 3 Super Bowls for Mr. Mahomes. They said that everyone's going to be back next year. Andy Reid, Travis Kelce. So hey, listen, as long as you got Patrick Mahomes, you're always going to have a chance. He's that great of a quarterback. There's not many of them like Patrick Mahomes. So, yeah. Scott Taylor, I won't watch. Okay. Corey Brown says the Bengals. No, I don't think so because they already got Jamar Chase and they franchise tag T. Higgins. So I think they're fine with what they got. Yeah, so I don't see Evans going to Cincinnati. Scott Taylor, Baker Mayfield wants $30 million. Yeah, I've heard he wants $35 million. So perhaps 40. We'll see how it plays out. Baker, it's going to be interesting. What does he do? What do the Bucks do first? Who do they sign first? Evans or Mayfield? For me, I think you want to sign the quarterback first. The reason I say that is because, for one, right now you don't know what you have with Kyle Trask, even though you've not played him much. But at the same time, he doesn't really fit the style of offense that Dave Canales, when he was here, ran, and now Liam Cohen runs something similar to what Canales does. So, and that's another thing. They brought in Liam Cohen primarily to make sure Baker Mayfield resigns with the Bucks, works with, because Mayfield has familiarity with the system that Liam Cohen runs. So I would say that the quarterback will probably be the first guy I'd sign. Now, I will say this, that I've been hearing this from a lot of fans, Bucks fans, that, we're not good at developing quarterbacks, so we need to re-sign Baker, everything like that. And I get it. The Bucks haven't been great at, developing quarterbacks. I mean, the one they probably had the most development out of is Jameis Winston. He was here for 5 years, but at some point, this team's going to have to develop a quarterback, whether they like it or not, whether the Bucks fans like it or not. They're going to have to develop a quarterback in this system. Baker Mayfield he's your immediate future. He's just not your long-term future. I would say $3 million or 3 years, $100 million. I think that would be a good contract. $60 million guaranteed. You see what you got for these next 2 years with him. Let's see if he can, even do better than he did this past season. Let's make sure this isn't just a 1-year barrage. Now, I know it's a different position, but look what happened to Shaq Barrett. 2019, he had 19 and a half sacks. So he gets this big contract, 2020. Helped us, did pretty well there in the Super Bowl, but he never got to that point where he was even close to that mark he set in 2019. And we had to let him go this offseason because he was due $15 million this coming season. So you have to be careful with, and I know they're two different positions, quarterback and linebacker, but you have to be careful what you pay somebody when they have this resurgent year. Because remember, Baker Mayfield made $4 million this year, but he got incentives as well, so he made around $7 or $8 million, I believe. But it was kind of a prove-it contract, So now with Baker, the way he played this year, played really well. 28 touchdowns, only 10 interceptions. I know I keep bragging about it, but he had a 158.3 quarterback rating at Green Bay. I think the only guy to ever do that, so I will brag about that. But now we got to see what happens. I wouldn't break the bank for him, but at the same time, you're going to have to pay some money. And I think 3 years, $100 million isn't too extreme, but it isn't too cheap either. You're talking $33 million a year on average, $33.3 million. You make 60 of it guaranteed. I think that's what they should do. And I think that's what it's going to take, because there'll be teams that'll probably offer him 35 to 40 million a year. There's a team a little bit north of Tampa in our division called the Atlanta Falcons, and they need a quarterback. I know, by the way, Raheem Morris, Zach Robinson, that staff for the Falcons, they were with the Rams the last few years. Well, guess who played for the Rams in 2022? With the second half of 2022? Baker Mayfield. So he's very familiar with those coaches. So we'll see how that plays out. But again, who I think the Bucs should sign first, probably the quarterback. Because if you sign Evans first, and let's say you don't get Baker Mayfield, then who's going to throw Mike Evans the ball? Do you go with Kyle Trask? I think that ship has sailed. You might have to draft a quarterback then. Is Evans willing to want to play with the rookie quarterback? Now you're saying he did that with Jameis, but again, Mike was only in his second year when Jameis came into the league. So Mike's older now, and he knows that he's not going to be playing for probably the next 10, 15 years. So he wants to play with a quarterback that's, kind of proven. I know CJ Stroud's only going to be in his second year, but, you see what CJ Stroud's done. We haven't really seen what Kyle Trask has done. And it's not a knock on Kyle Trask. It's just, I think it's just one of those things. It's bad timing. Real quick story. When Brady said he was retiring in 2022, the first time, a lot of news was going around that, Bucs wise, that Trask would take over. He was ready to go. Well, like 45 days later, after Tom announced his retirement, he says, well, no, you know what, I'm going to come back. So Tom Brady comes back. And the Bucs, yeah, they won the division, went to a playoff game, but they were not the same team. They're 8-9. So the timing for Trask, it couldn't have been worse. And then the Bucs said, we still think we can win this division. As bad as it is, we can still win this division. Go with somebody proven. That's why they brought Baker Mayfield in, because he's been in the league. He won a playoff game. Kyle Trask has barely played in the regular season. And the Bucs felt like they're going to go with somebody that's been around, So Kyle Trask, it's probably just been bad timing. If they haven't played him now, I don't think they ever will. In my opinion, I don't ever see him playing for the Bucs. Being their starting quarterback. Even if they lose Mayfield, they'll probably try and draft a quarterback and have a competition with Kyle Trask. But yeah, so I think the Bucs' top priority. I know they want Evans, they want Winfield, but their top priority, I think, is going to be Baker Mayfield, because that's where it starts. Quarterback there's only 32 of those jobs in the NFL, so that's who's going to make the most money. Or Mike Evans to the Bengals says Corey. No. They got T. Higgins. They got Jamar Chase. I don't see that. Christopher Cole says it's all about guaranteed money. It is. Yeah. And whether it's Baker or whether it's Mike Evans, it's the guaranteed money. And as far as Evans goes, 3 years. I think Christopher Cole, you said last night on the NFL edition, you commented it'd be like 3 years, $90 million for Evans. I think they come close to that if it's the Bucs, but they'll probably make it 3 years, 85 at the most, 80 to 85. Maybe 60 of it, 55. Yeah, 50-55 would be guaranteed. So, yeah, but you're right. It's about guaranteed money. Scott says, I'll play for $10 million and buy Marty McKnight a large pizza. Oh, man, you're poking the bear, aren't you, Mr. Thaler? Corey Brown says, Calvin Ridley to the Rams. Yeah, maybe. I mean, Calvin Ridley to the Rams, yeah. Corey says, Jordan Whitehead, Bucs could bring back. Yeah. I mean, first priority, though, is Antoine Winfield Jr., so I don't know. We'll see what happens there. Johnny Dean, sup, Ben Cornett? What's up, Johnny? Thanks for tuning in. Appreciate that. I know it's late out in the Berg up there in Pennsylvania, but thank you for tuning in, staying up, and watching. Scott versus Corey tonight. Ooh. That's fun. No Corey win. Scott Thaler, Corey, respect your elders. That's right. Corey, you should. Scott is in his, I believe it's late 90s. Although he looks like he's 70, he is in his late 90s. Corey Brown, Bucs win playoffs this past season. Rams did no playoff games. Yeah, the Rams still made the playoffs. They almost beat Detroit. That was a great game. The Bucs almost beat Detroit. So Johnny Dean says, right, I've been saying they have to develop a quarterback for 40 years. Yeah. Yeah, Johnny, I mean, my God. I mean, it's sad that this franchise has not developed a quarterback. It really is. And the closest thing was probably Jameis, but it didn't work out. Yes, we upgraded by $1 million with Tom Brady, but yeah, the Bucks, that mindset is going to be get a proven leader, get a proven quarterback before developing one, but can't develop one if you keep going out and getting, players from other teams, so, but like I said earlier, Johnny, with Kyle Trask, I think a lot of it had to do with timing, the job probably could have been his if Tom Brady if he hadn't decided to just come back after a 45-day retirement. Looking back on it now, you could say he probably should have stayed retired. And we talked about this a million times, that Brady was not the same guy. His head was not in it. But a lot of other things pretty much fell apart as well. Ryan Jensen got injured. Only played one game after that. Probably shouldn't have played. Ali Marpet retired unexpectedly. But good for him. He wanted to get out while he can. He had other, stuff to do in his life, and I respect the hell out of that. And by the way, I know you do, Johnny. I miss Marpet as well. And think about if we could have had him another 2-3 years. Ooh, that would have been something. But we'll never know. Scott Taylor, that's because the other team cheated. Johnny Dean, shut up, Scott Taylor. Yeah. I finally got a shut up, Ben, last night, which, I love. Love when I get a shut up from Johnny Dean. Nobody does a shut up better than him. So, Johnny Dean, screw the Falcons. Yep. Scott Taylor says, shut up, Johnny Dean. Corey says, Bucks definitely got better roster, more talent than the Rams. I mean, it's about even. I mean, I think Bucks may have a little more talent, but the Rams are getting there. I mean, last year they surprised everybody in the league. Kudos to Sean McVay. I mean, did a good job. Give him credit. I mean, when you draft well, things are going to work out. Now we got to see what Puka does in 2024. Now you have game tape on him, so teams are going to be putting more focus on him. So let's see if Mr. Nacua can, do better this year. They call it a sophomore slump for a reason, But for me, I think Nacua is going to be good. He's going to be great in this league. I don't see him dropping off too much. But that's also good for the Rams, especially like I said with Cooper Kupp. The injuries have piled on for him. He didn't have a great year last year. He had a lot of drop passes. I know I get heat for saying Mike Evans dropping passes, but it's a fair assessment. It's a fair criticism. But at the same time, got to call it for Cooper Kupp. You know how many passes he dropped last year? He may have dropped as many as Mike Evans. I've seen several drop passes from Cooper Kupp, So, maybe he's not going to be that number one guy for the next several years. Could be Nacua, So it's a good thing that they got him and that they drafted well on that one. Johnny Dean says, Scott Taylor, stop thinking with your head, with your penis. Well, unfortunately, Johnny, that's the only head he thinks with. So, especially, when it's with Stranger Things. Oh, that beer's good. Johnny, Ben Cornett, no link. Oh, okay. Let me send it to you. If you're still around, I'll send it to you. Let me read more of these comments here. Bucks will win NFC South again. They could. If they get Baker and Mike Evans back, and Antoine Winfield, I definitely think that They got a shot. You know. All right, Johnny. Again, if you're still available, I did send you the link. So anytime you want to hop on for a few minutes, be my guest. Literally. Let's see. We got Scott Taylor knows of the Saints. Derek Carr have no real rep in wide receiver, no defense. Yeah, Saints. Again, we talked about them last night. Somehow, some way, they always seem to find ways to kick that can down the road. No matter how far they kick it, they kick it pretty far. They must kick it really good because you think, man, they're in salary cap hell. They've been that way for the last several years, and yet somehow, some way, they retain some of their guys. So, but it's pretty bad when you have to have Cam Jordan restructure his deals. So they let go of Marcus May too yesterday. So that's a key piece in there. Shaq Barrett, good fit for the Dolphins. I could see that. I think they could. I really could. I think that would be a very good fit for him. Corey, I don't agree with that. I don't disagree with that. I could see that happen. And Johnny D says Puka Nokia. Well, let's let him pronounce that. Here he is. Johnny, thanks for coming on, man. How you doing, man?
All right. That's Puka. I forgot to spell the Puka right. Nokia. Yeah, there we go.
There we go.
Puka Nokia.
No. Well, he wasn't that. He was anything but that, Johnny. He was what a draft pick.
Oh no. I love the guy. That's specifically for one of your commenters there.
Oh well, I appreciate it. For a certain guy that thinks with his
with his penis.
Yeah. Well, great. Here's Scott. There he is, thinking with his penis again.
Yep.
Shut up, Johnny D.
Don't try to take my thing, dude. You just think you can't do it, dude. I've had too many years of that one.
Scott, do not copyright Johnny's. Shut up, okay? Right. That's Johnny's and Johnny's only. Oh man, so what's up in the Berg, man? How's it going up there?
Oh, today's been a busy day, so I really haven't kept up with much of anything today. Except now it started raining when it wasn't supposed to be raining at all. We had 0 chance of rain. Now it's raining, so ain't that wonderful?
Hey, we could always use the rain though. Especially out here in Vegas. So.
You could. We've had enough rain, dude. Our mountains are sliding apart, dude. Here.
Oh, okay, that's right. Yes, I keep forgetting you're on those hills. Yes, yes, that can, especially with that California. That million. What? I don't know. Well, it is. Have at it. Let's quit walking around with my penis in your mouth. Oh man.
Told you he just thinks with his penis.
Yeah. Well, if he did,
I didn't see a single Millie Bobby Brown comment in the chat, though. I think he's improving.
I think you jinxed it because we might see one any second now. Yeah, quit. Thank you, Johnny Dean. Defend me from Scott. That's Corey Brown.
Anytime, Corey. Yeah,
we love Corey around here. Even he might say some things about a few things here and there, but he is very loyal to this show and to our other shows as well. NFL Edition. Shout out to them. We had a good show last night. JT, Alex Loosemore, and you made an appearance too. So that was nice to see. Scott Taylor says Facebook just gave me a warning and made me delete my comment. Oh, okay. We might not see Mr. Scott for a while there.
Oh, we'll get to see Scott put in jail. That's funny.
No, he'll be calling you like, "Can you bail me out, Danny? Can you bail me out? I'll pay you back."
Just have to sit out the time, Scotty. Just sit out the time.
Get a good lawyer there, Scott. Facebook. I thought Bon Jovi owned part of the Bucks team.
No.
No.
Maybe the Dolphins, but he's still trying to get a team up in Toronto, man. Remember when he was in that organization? They were trying to buy the Bills.
Yep. Yeah, I remember that. Yeah. Came close, but I guess at the last minute, something. I think what was it, like the investment group or something backed out of it, or
Um, the or the NFL didn't want to take that chance that they would move to Toronto, and the owners currently made a large contract saying that they would never move the team. So
oh, that's it. Okay, okay,
that was the key factor there.
I got you. Okay, yeah, that would have been interesting. The Toronto Bills.
I still think Toronto ends up with an NFL team because, like you said, Bon Jovi is still working on that up there. He's got a organization, a bunch of people, investors in it, and you notice that the NFL said a Canadian team might be possible in the future, and a Mexican team, a team in Mexico. So they are trying to expand. That would be their international teams, you know, which makes more sense than packing up and going to Europe. But they're eventually going to do that, you know. I don't know how they're going to do it. I think they'll have a solid NFL Europe team that is a true NFL team instead of like the NFL Europe Farm League we had.
Yeah.
By the way, those guys are still around. Those teams are still playing over there.
Right. No, you're right. Yeah, and I mean the NFL's just taking over the world, so I do like how they're taking their time though. They're not rushing these things. They're being strategic. They want to see first. They want to make sure that this could possibly work. They don't want to just throw a team there in London or anywhere across the ocean. They want to. Right. They're taking their time. So that very smart.
Logistically, they have to work. That's a logistic nightmare right there. So yeah.
Oh, think about that. I mean, traveling. Even on the West Coast. Think about Seattle. I think they're the team that is the most furthest in the NFL. As far as travel goes, because they're way in the Pacific Northwest.
Yeah, when Miami plays Seattle, oh my god, dude.
Oh man.
But it don't take more than 2 hours to get anywhere in the country, maybe 3.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
So
I mean,
with air flight now. So
right.
Yeah. What is it? It's still a 10-hour trip overseas though.
Yeah, yeah, and you got international customs and everything you got to go through as well. So yeah, it's
if they have an NFL Europe, I think that might be a thing. Like when the AFC and the NFC first merged,
mm-hmm.
They would play against each other predominantly, and then before they started mixing the games up. So I think that might be like that. It'd be a good way to have a true world champion too.
Hey, there you go. That makes it more impressive. And Johnny, we know this year we'll have a game in Brazil, Rio de Janeiro. It'll be the opening week, I believe, too. With the NFL.
I hope it's in better shape than it was during the Olympics down there, man.
It's gonna have to. Yeah, it's gonna have to be because the NFL's they mean business. They don't want anything out of place. They they treat this like Neiman Marcus. They're not a Walmart. They treat it like Neiman Marcus.
Right. Yes, exactly. That was a good comparison, by the way. I like that.
Yeah. So the Olympics treated it like Walmart. The NFL is Neiman Marcus. So there you go.
I'd say now that Europe would be Target because Target's upscaled all their stores and stuff a lot now. You see a lot of upscale people in there.
Yes.
So they're not Neiman Marcus. The NFL is Neiman Marcus. Then Target would be Europe, and then Mexico and Brazil and that. I'm sorry to say this, but they've had such plumbing and logistic nightmares down there that they would have to be Walmart. Yeah.
Yeah.
At the moment, they're going to have to step up the game.
Right. And that's what they're going to have to do if they're going to be serious about hosting games in the NFL, not just this year, but in future years, So, yeah.
Well, that's why Mexico got canceled this year, is because their stadium wasn't up to grade yet. Right.
They had to redo it. So, yeah, that's true. Scott Thaler, I'm still trying to get a team in St. Louis. Maybe I can. There we go.
Man. I did. I jinxed it.
Yeah.
Maybe you just can't. It's an addiction with him, man. It's compulsive addiction.
Just wait till March.
Japan, that's a good spot right there. I wouldn't mind seeing an NFL team in Japan.
What happened to that, Johnny? I mean, we were in Japan when we played the Jets, I believe, in a preseason game.
Yeah, that was, I think, that was just sticking a toe in the water. But Japan, now talk about Neiman Marcus, man. They go all out with their stuff like that, man.
Yep, they do. Probably one of the cleanest countries on earth, too.
Yeah,
I mean, they're very professional, very strict. I mean, yeah, it could work. You know, I could see Japan.
As long as it's outside that Fallout area.
Yeah, right.
Yeah. Don't stick us in a Fallout zone.
Yeah. Maybe Australia. I don't know. I don't see Australia being a possibility for having like a
such a long. But all right, Australia plays in the what was that? The rugby league, and they do have a soccer team, right? That plays in the whatever it's called.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So they're used to the logistics stuff.
Yeah. Their stadiums are just state of the art in Australia, Johnny. I mean, that's why I'm saying that Australia being
hard to beat the European stadiums, though, man. It really is. Those European stadiums are amazing. The technology that they use in those stadiums is amazing, dude.
Yeah, especially Germany, where the last 2 years we've had games there in Germany. Incredible. Like they do it very well, man.
Tottenham, man, that stadium, dude. The floor has the surface, the field has an elevator. Is on an elevator that they just lower the field at night, put up the protective field, and when a soccer game comes on or a different kind of match, whether it's soccer or cricket or whatever the hell they're having at the time, they have a field already set in a slot. And they just slide it out and pull that field up. It's in the watering system down there because they have used true grass, and those fields have their own little watering system that's built into them and that's taken care of them with the fertilizer and all that stuff, and a robotic lawnmower system. I guess that's the best way you can say it. But that field is crazy with technology, dude.
Yeah, and here in Allegiant Stadium here in Vegas, we do something kind of similar to that. With the fields, we slide it in, slide it out. Scott Thaler, we're talking about the football field. Don't get any ideas about sliding in, sliding out.
Well, you are in Vegas now because you were setting him, so you were setting him up for that one.
Not on purpose, but yeah, I see what you're saying. But yeah, we're doing
Scott. Whatever happens in Vegas stays in Vegas, somewhat.
Christopher Gold. There's no escape from Facebook jail, Scott. Yeah, that's true. They lock you up, throw away the key, man. So be careful there, Scotty. Orlando Jaguars.
Oh God, Corey, come on, man. You know damn. Jacksonville just invested a bunch of money in that stadium. They're not moving that team to Orlando. I think there will eventually be a team in Orlando, though.
Yeah, I could see that. Jaguars would come to St. Louis before Orlando. And listen, we tease Scott all the time, but there should still be a team in St. Louis. Don't you agree?
The NFL is against it.
Why?
They said that they've had so many chances that they're just set against it right now. Although it is not their fault they lost them this last time. That guy just wanted to move. Period.
Yeah, Kroenke,
that's on him. That's not St. Louis. St. Louis, they have fans there. They turn out for games and stuff.
Yes, they do. Well, the Battlehawks, good example.
Yep.
They drew like 20,000, 30,000 fans for.
If they could up that, those numbers, you know what I mean? They might send a signal to the NFL that, hey, you're wrong. Give us a team. You know what I mean?
Yeah. St. Louis Rams. That was fun. Those fans showed up, definitely. And
I think they have to build a new stadium there.
Probably, yeah. More than likely, they're going to have to, yeah. And ironically, the last home game for the Rams was against. Can you guess, Johnny?
Bucks.
The Bucks. There you go. That infamous Thursday night game with the ketchup and mustard uniforms. Yes, I remember that
game. Yeah. That was an ugly game to watch.
Yes, it was, especially those uniforms. Corey Toronto NFL team. Yeah, we talked about that a
I
little
see
bit
that
ago.
being very, very likely soon. I mean, soon in NFL time, maybe within the next 10 years or
Yep.
shorter, because they're really pushing it right now.
Okay, yeah, that makes a lot of sense. I mean, Toronto's a very unique town. They got every pro team but an NFL team. So Raptors, Maple Leafs, and Blue Jays.
I was
Uh,
reading up on the Canadian districts or whatever they're called,
mhm,
and where our friend Alex lives, they
yeah.
they have the best capital there, man. They have the best money.
Mm,
Money wise, they could definitely support an NFL team.
yeah.
And Edmonton's a really nice. That's a nice city, man.
Yeah. No, I've seen pictures of it. I've heard a lot of great stuff about Edmonton. It's north. It's very north in
Yeah,
Alberta, but yeah, you're right. It is nice.
they'd
And we're
probably be a
friends.
major rival with the Seahawks. That I could see a rivalry there build up and stuff if they were in the
Yeah.
AFC. Because they have to realign the divisions, and maybe they'd go regionally.
Yeah. There you go. 6 hours to Seattle from Miami. Yeah, no, that's true. I mean, with the way travel is these days,
Yeah,
yeah, get there pretty quick.
you gotta say at least 2 of those hours is hovering around the airports too.
He went from a very good comment to this. I'm keeping Millie up, so I'm going to bed. Yeah, okay. Yeah. All right, and
He
Japan
must have his
NFL.
hand lubed up.
Yeah. He's still looking for it. Where is it? Where is it? Oh, there it is. Oh, this. Okay.
Street
But
football. Well,
street
Cor-
football.
Cor- Corey's
No.
comment there, yeah.
Yeah.
You wouldn't get that I mean, that would be a fantastic thing to watch, but you can't. That's not logistically possible with the injuries and stuff.
Well, maybe as a thing in the Pro Bowl, perhaps. You have to have certain rules for it. You can't.
Can you imagine? They don't want to play any games in the Pro Bowl for injuries. The players don't. They're not going
Yeah.
to play street football in there, man. Ain't no way.
Well, in football,
They'd have to walk out there looking like the Stay Puft Marshmallow Man.
yeah. Well, football is coming back to the Olympics in 2028, or it's making their debut. Pro
Yep.
football. That would be interesting. Um, Alaska NFL game.
Ooh, they don't. There's no city in Alaska could bring in the revenue.
Yeah.
Sorry to say that. It's just that's a revenue thing. That would be just a pure money thing, and nobody's gonna.
Although, the view of that game would be pretty damn
Oh
awesome.
man, yeah, have those mountains in the background and shit, man. Maybe a couple of grizzly bears coming out on the field.
Yeah, there you go. There you go. Yeah, there you go. And it could snow too. That'd be even better.
You know what they do? And they wouldn't go with the Grizzlies because there's an NBA team, but
Oh, there was, yeah.
they would probably go with some lame shit like the Alaskan salmon or some shit. And have pink uniforms.
The Alaska salmon. Ooh. They jump right at you. Yeah. Australia, the Kangaroo Bowl. Yeah. I might.
That'd be fun.
Squat. Get your hands out of your pants.
I'd love to see Australia involved in the NFL. The logistics of that, man, would be. Ugh.
Yeah, that's the only thing. But their stadiums are incredible there, John.
Yeah, I know.
Yep, it is. And Super Bowl in Orlando. They'd have to get a new stadium if they had to do that. The Citrus Bowl.
I expect there's going to be a team in Orlando, so they're eventually going to have a stadium there.
Yep. Rams and Cardinals.
Although I hope it's a hell of a lot better than the Magic Stadium there, man. Jesus Christ, that little rinky-dink thing.
Yeah. Yeah, I know 2 teams left the St. Louis, which that's a shame. That really is a shame,
Yeah.
Great.
Well, that's the NFL's point of view on that, man. They've had too many chances and lost it. And it's a shame because I think they're a historic team. It's a historic city to have a team in,
It's right in the middle of the country too. It's right in the middle of the heartland. Yeah. Christopher Cole says, on a different subject, did you see The Rock in his video and promo? I did, Chris. I did see that. That was fun. That was great. I loved it.
Is it a WWE thing? I've been
Yeah.
seeing The Rock on a lot of stuff, man.
Yeah. Hey, he's the president of TKO, WWE
Yeah, he's a
division.
major producer with Disney.
Yep.
He's a busy man. You know what I mean? It's all
Oh,
over the
man.
place.
Yeah. Be lucky to get 4 hours of sleep a night.
I don't see how he does it, dude.
No, work ethic. He's committed. You know, you
Yeah.
got to give that guy. That's why I respect the guy.
I respect the hell out of The Rock, man.
Yeah. Yep. Absolutely. Two greedy owners. He's talking about the teams with the.
Well, it's
that
not
own-
always the owners. I mean, like when Baltimore lost the Colts, man, that was a city thing. A lot of your situation was involved in the city and the counties and who's going to build the team and all that
Yeah.
crap. There's a lot of politics behind this shit, dude.
Oh yeah, it's usually, and you're right, Johnny. Like pretty much 99.9% of the time, it is the city and the, not wanting to use public money,
No,
build a stadium. A new stadium. That's what they did in San Diego when the Chargers left for LA. They didn't want to build a new stadium, so that's one of the reasons they lost their team.
that's why Jerry Jones just bought up all the land and that where he's at and moved out of the city and shit and built
Yep.
there himself, And there's
Right.
not a lot of owners that's going to invest like that. I got to give Jerry Jones credit. He did that very well. But I think that's partly greed too, because he wanted to keep all the revenue. He wasn't going to pay the city tax, that tax money on top of everything.
There's no state tax in Texas either, so yeah, that's another advantage for Mr. Jones. Now, if he could just get out of the way as far as team decisions, team would be a lot better off. But
there's no state tax, but there's levies when you build.
True. Yes, you're correct. That's true. Tampa Bay NBA waiting for. I don't see it.
That's not going to happen.
Not an NBA. The expansion for the NBA right now is leaning toward Vegas and Seattle as the two expansion teams. So,
and Vegas is showing right now that they can carry a team.
Yeah, we're growing as a community. Which is good and bad. The only bad part about it, Johnny, is when we're expanding Las Vegas, we're expanding into the mountains, we're expanding to coyotes and we're kind of ruining that.
Yes, desert. I agree 100%.
Desert that I loved. I loved the fact that you had all.
I wrote an article for my Science and Nature group on that one time, man, a couple of years ago about that expansion of Las Vegas and how it was taking over the wildlife and the natural beauty of Nevada.
Right. Yeah, it's ruining the conservation. And people complain, why are my coyotes eating my animals? And well, shit, where you live, look where you live. That's where
I'm not a big coyote. Coyotes are every fucking where, man. They're in New York City, dude. They're breaking into delis and shit in New York City. Okay. So they're one of the most adaptable creatures on the planet. But Nevada used to have gray wolves, man, and they're no longer around. They had the Mexican red wolves were up there too. And I think I've heard that there's some still starting to show up around there in the conservation areas.
Yeah,
that might be a good thing for Nevada, but with expansion, you're going to lose that come back.
Well, absolutely. I mean, you're ruining land, and that means you're building on stuff where all the animals were at or are at, and it's tough. It's tough. I mean, yes, I get it. You want to grow the town financially, but at what price? With conservation and everything. So I don't know. It's a double-edged sword, I guess. Team. Okay. The Cardinals left because they had to play in a baseball stadium. Oh, again, yeah, because of this stadium. Yeah. The city and everything. Christopher Cole is Tampa. The Rays owner wants the St. Pete taxpayers to pay $2.4 billion for that stadium.
They're going to, and that's going to be a beautiful addition to St. Pete, man. It might draw enough people there to say, "Whoa, look, St. Pete is a gorgeous fucking place, man." People don't realize that. They don't like to come across Hillsborough over to Pinellas and over that bridge unless they're going over to Clearwater, to beach.
Right.
But
Yeah.
that spot right there where they're at, their plans. Keith showed me the planning for that, man. That place would be amazing right there. Right now, it looks like shit. Nobody wants to go there to that stadium.
Right, exactly. But like you're saying, yeah, that land that they're trying to build it on, yeah, it's very, very beautiful. And Chris and Scott Taylor, Johnny has a wolf living in his house.
Spirit's not a wolf. She just thinks she is.
Yes, it's a husky. It's a very beautiful husky. Her and Radar. How's Radar doing? Is he getting adjusted?
He was sleeping with Tracy just a second ago on her chair.
Oh,
She
okay.
got up, so he's still there.
Now is he going to be a hunter-like spirit?
Oh my God, she keeps teaching him shit that she shouldn't be teaching him.
Oh,
When summer gets here, I dread all the animals that are going to be dead on my porch.
Oh shit! Ooh, man, you better get those shots for him because a lot of animals around your neighborhood.
Yeah.
And Scott Taylor, Florida, a nice place to visit, but not to live there. Yeah,
if I could take the heat, I wouldn't mind going back to Florida. But I lived there for 40 years, man. I lived in Central Florida. You want to talk about heat, mosquitoes, humidity? But I had the best time of my life in Florida, dude, because I grew up in the swamps, man. I don't think there's a better way to grow up.
There you go. Nothing wrong with that at all. And our good friend Johnny has just tuned in. Mr. Blackie Lawless at Spirit Radar Best Dog Duo. Thank you for tuning in, Blackie. Long time no see, man.
Oh, and man. You should add Thor to that, Blackie. I love Thor.
Oh, there
Blackie's
you go.
dog Thor. He was great.
Thor, yes. Yeah, very beautiful.
I've seen pictures of him lately, so.
Okay. Corey says Florida men's basketball team win all madness. See what happens there. March Madness coming up in a few weeks. We'll definitely talk about Gators, yes. St. Louis Blue.
I hope not. I hope St. Louis the Blues stay there. I mean, that's a legacy team for me. That was my favorite hockey team when I was growing up, man. I loved St. Louis. Brett Hall, man.
Brett Hall, yep. They're not moving. They'll be fine. Blues.
That's a legacy team. You can't move them, man.
Right. Yeah. Same with the Cardinals. You're not same the baseball team. We're gonna stay. Oh my God. He's poking you, Johnny. Johnny's feet think he wouldn't like swamp feet or higher up.
This guy has no idea what swamp feet is.
Yeah. He's a poor little boy from St. Louis, so no swamps in St. Louis there. Oh man. Well, we're gonna go ahead and take off here, but this was a fun episode. I'm glad Johnny stepped in. Appreciate you coming on tonight, my friend.
I appreciate you doing these shows, man.
Yeah. I mean, I'm trying to keep them up. We are on number 50 now. Can't believe we're at 50 episodes. It's amazing.
No shit, dude.
Yeah.
Wait till you get up to 150, and then you'll be like, yeah.
Oh, there we go. And the NFL edition will be 150, I think, within the next few months. So
wait a minute. Is that Corey that just said that move Orlando Magic to Tampa Bay?
Yes, and that's not going to happen. So
that would make sense though, because Tampa has a big basketball fan base there. You know what I mean? And those guys are all having to go to Orlando for the Magic or Miami. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
I think the Rays would have been a better Orlando team, and I think the Magic would have worked, and it's not going to happen. That's never going to happen. But no. I think the NBA would have worked better in Tampa than it is the baseball is. I think baseball would have worked good in Orlando because you have more of an international crowd in Orlando.
That's a good point. Interesting point there. You can see that. Blackie says, appreciate it, guys. Well, we appreciate you, Blackie, for stopping by. Man. Long time no see. Good to hear from you again. Scott says, good show, Ben. Appreciate that, Scott. And
Scott, I'm going to flag that for copyright.
there we go. Yes. You better get a good lawyer there, Scott, because we could be looking at some heavy lawsuits coming your way, Mr. Taylor. So with that being said, we are taking off. Ladies and gentlemen, enjoy your weekend, and we will be back here next time for Have At It, right here in the Ben Zone and on YouTube at BenCornet9015. Follow me on X at BennyBoys702. And if you're an Instagrammer, you can follow me at Ben702 forever. So for Johnny Dean and myself, take care, and we will see you next time right here on Have At It.